Hello Android developers, my name is Mohsen and in this video I want to do some experiment with Android Jetpack Compose package. In the first part we learned how to add dependencies and configure the project. We did a simple Hello World UI using the Jetpack Compose and implemented the episodes list of the sample app using Compose. In this video I'm going to first figure out what was wrong with that _UI state, because if you remember, I didn't manage to make it work, but when I was editing the previous video, I noticed what was wrong with it. And also figuring out what was wrong with assigned preview, and also learning how to stop detekt from complaining about the compose functions because they start with a capital letter. If we had time, I will also try to do some theming and apply some theme and try implement that refresh feature and load more functionalities. But before I start, please do not forget that you can support this channel by subscribing to this and like and share the videos. So let's start. Let's take a look into the project and see what we did last time. As a recap, I added this compose here, different dependencies added here, and one compose configuration that I had a hard time to find out, that we should define the Kotlin compile extension version here. And yeah, that was more or less it. And we should not forget that we should also enable the compose feature for the Android. Another thing I learned while I was doing these items was that imports are really important when you're using Compose, because a wrong import or missing imports can easily make you go crazy and could not find what's wrong with them. Okay, first thing first, let's take a look into this UI state. Usually we keep some backing property as a mutable, whatever, mutable state flow, mutable state here as Jetpack Compose has already inside, and then keep it private for the whole view model, and then one public one which is not mutable and just showing the content instead of allowing outside world to edit it. So what I'm going to do is rename this and change it to a private one. Last time the issue was the type of that state that I was trying to assign _UI state to it. So this time I know that doing this should do the job. And as you can see, inside we talk about _UI state, and outside we only use UI state, and that's it. Cool. The other point was about the preview and why the preview is not working. If I hover my cursor here, you can see that it also explained that it cannot do the preview for the functions that have some method already passed inside. So what I'm going to do, and what I learned in tutorials, is that we can define some functions with some default values as a preview. For example, here is episode row. We can call it preview episode row and use it instead of for the preview, and remove the preview from top of this. So what I'm going to do, because it's going to get a bit ugly here and lots of data here, what I'm going to do is just move it to some other file called episode row. And remove the preview from here. Also, some of you just mentioned that in the chat that I can do something like this. So there is a shortcut already defined already for preview composable, that you can type prev and it will generate for you the whole function. And we are going to call it preview episode row. And what this is going to do is just calling this function with some default view episode item, and I'm going to call it preview episode, and it's going to be view. I missed the val. Episode item, and just pass in whatever it needs. So name, air date, and episode. For the name, I'm going to say pilot. By the way, this is somehow exactly how we are doing in the UI. So let me maybe show you how I did it for the episode. What we do here usually before Jetpack Compose was using tools text and putting some default, let me close it a bit, and putting some default text to make the preview a bit nicer. So this is exactly what I'm doing here. So episode is going to be this. Episode. And air date, I will exactly copy from here, so you will see this is exactly what's happening there. Okay, now we have a preview episode, and if we pass it to this, then we should get something is missing here, which is on click, and I will just keep it empty. And yeah, just for you to know, to see the preview, you have to build the project, and usually you see some button here that helps you with building the project. Yeah, as you can see now, the preview is working and it's not ready anymore, and that's cool. Cool. Let's do the same maybe for the episode list. What I'm going to do is also remove this from the screen and just create a separate file for episode list, and keep the preview also in a separate file. And I will cut this. Is there? Yeah, we also have something for composable, and oh, my mistake. It's going to be called episode list, and yeah, what I'm going to pass here is just the episodes, which is a list of view episode item. And yeah, we can also put episode here just to make it nicer and more clean. So again, we cannot have any preview here because this function is getting some parameter. What I'm going to do is creating a preview episode list, which calls this method of this composable with some dummy data. I will maybe copy this and reuse it. Preview episodes and list of so this should show one item. I will just create the second one. I don't know, I will call it pilot 2 and 9 of December. What's wrong here? I should pass this to this method. And build and refresh, and we should see a list of 2 items. What's wrong here? Yeah. We should call this episode list and pass in UI state.value.episodes. And we don't need this preview anymore. That's it. So this will be our screen. Maybe some of you decide to have all the items of the screen in one file, but I personally prefer to keep them separate. However, this is kind of a feature package and everything here is related to that feature, then I don't see any harm to do it like this. Yeah. So as you can see, this LazyColumn is working fine. We get episodes, and for every episode in this preview thing, we get a preview episode list, and that's it. I'm wondering if we can make it private so no one outside can use it. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. So I will do the same with the other one. So this one would be also private. This is more reliable because outside world doesn't reach to this private episode role. Okay, back to my list. Yeah, I have to research how to stop detekt from complaining, so just need some time to take a look how to do it. Yeah, to be honest, I don't see any useful solution for it. So what I'm going to do is maybe move it to next part and spend more time researching about it, and we will continue with the rest of today part. So yeah, let me go back to this. So what I wanted to do next was learn how to do theming. So there is also a nice tutorial in Jetpack Compose theme, which I took a quick look this morning, and we can maybe follow that tutorial and use the same thing. What I'm going to use is the material theming in Compose. So they already have defined all the material theme, and you can define your own colors and typography and shapes, and it should work out of the box. What I'm going to do is follow this guideline, which is defining some colors and then extending this dark color or light color and define your own primary, secondary, and primary variant. And then at some point here, it explains how to define your own theme. Yeah, here. So we can create something like my theme and say, pass a boolean, say if it's dark or if it's light, and then in the material theme that you define here, say if it was dark theme, then use the dark colors. If it wasn't, then use the light color, and pass the content. So I will copy this guy into my project, and yeah, inside my view, I will create a file called Yeah, Rick and Morty theme, and rename this in app application theme. Import the composable. This one we don't have it. It's some example thingy, and wait. Let's import material theme, and here is where we should define our colors. Okay, here I will say private val dark color equal dark colors, and if you check the source code you will see, let me close this, you can define different colors: primary variant, secondary, background, error, and lots of other things. You can also take a look into this image, which kind of shows which color is which in by default in this variant. Okay, and I will try to use my current app color and theme. Let me find it. So in this app I have a style which extend the app compat theme, and a primary color, a dark color, and an accent, which I believe can be kind of translated to different fields of this dark colors. What I'm going to do is define the colors here. I will reuse this logic. Private is color. We can define it right here and get rid of this. And I guess this one. Yes. So here we have primary dark and accent, but the names are different here. So I will try to somehow migrate to this new naming. So primary would be the same, but the second one is primary variant, but my variable name is color primary dark, which I will improve it. And I have something called color accent, but I think this is exactly the secondary, if I'm not wrong. I will also reuse this name, secondary. Okay, now we have dark color. I'm going to reuse this for light color. The only difference is this one, which also defined the background by default. And yeah, here this if is working fine because we pass it here, and this should be it. The way it works is that, as far as I understood, we can just easily wrap our composable with our theme, and then this guy will do the theming. The only thing is that we should pass the dark or light mode. For the moment I will say dark true, because my app was always in dark mode. I never had the logic to switch to light mode. And yeah, let's see the preview. I will go to my episode list, or maybe first to episode row, and add this to our preview, and I'm going to call it dark episode row, and maybe let me just duplicate and create a light one, light episode row, and pass false. Let's see. Build. Yeah, nice. So we have a dark preview and light preview. Still no type font appearance and font type for the text, but we will figure out that too. And yeah, this is cool. I like it. And I will do the same for the list. Adding the theme here, calling it dark, and also a light one. Yes, now we have two lists with light and dark theme, and this looks fine. It doesn't look exactly the same as my list item, but I will figure out how to change the card background and also the whole app background. Nice. Maybe let's run the app and see how it looks like after all these theme changes. Yeah, yep, the app looks fine. And I'm wondering if I set it false. Wow, it works on the fly. That's also interesting. I'm wondering how it works, but yeah, that's cool. So if I set it to true, then the app switches to dark mode, and then if I set it to false, then it's light mode. Interesting. Cool. I really enjoyed this feature because it looks like on the fly you can switch the theme and see how it applies to the UI. I'm wondering if there are other things that can do here and see it directly inside the app. But yeah, that's good for the moment. I enjoy it, and I also noticed that we get the ripple effect out of the box with the card and clickable, so that's also nice. Okay, this was the colors for the theme. I have to figure out how to add the text style and text appearance. I know there's something called typography in that material theme, but let me see. Yeah, as you can see, there are some predefined typography already inside the material. This is kind of the same as web CSS things, that you have header 1, header 2, and all go down to header 6, and then subtitle, body. Yeah, the cool thing with Compose is that it directly follows the material designed by Google, and you get it out of the box without any trying to have it. And yeah, you can define your own typography and override those titles. So you can say H1 is going to be font family rubric, and what would be the weight and what would be the size of the font. I don't want to change that much. I will try to reuse some of those exactly what I'm using in my style and somehow match them to what we have here. So I can take a quick look into my style. So in the app I have the list item title, text, and some small text, and size are 20, 16, and 12. And if I want to map them, 20 would be the header 6, 16 would be the subtitle one, and 12 would be the caption. So I will just reuse them. Okay, there should be something in the text that we can assign the style. So yeah, this style maybe should do the job. Let me give it a try. Style equal what do we have? Material theme dot, yeah, typography, and yeah, these are all the titles that I'm looking for. So for the episode, we decided to use subtitle 1. Okay, subtitle 1. Hopefully your project is going to have a UI designer who exactly knows the definition and give you the whole definition for every one of these type of text, and it would be really easy to just follow that design system. Headline 6, which means H6, and caption. Okay, let's build and refresh. Yeah, it looks more like my list item from XML. This is what I have here, and this is what I got from Compose, which almost look identical. Maybe let's also run the app and see how it looks like in the end. Yeah, that's cool. We can continue. So I should figure out which color in the theme is setting the card background, and also I think the whole background is a bit different. But yeah, the background is fine. So I should just figure out why the card background is so dark, and then that should be it. I should be done with theming, at least for this screen. Okay, it looks like the card and button navigation are both using the surface. So let me change the surface color and see how it affects. Surface. I'm just going to define a color here and then later check what was the exact my app color. Okay. This is an easy gray. All 5 is a nice gray. I will rerun the app. Yeah, that looks almost identical with what I have here, except the color, which I will just pick it from here to see what color it is. Yes, it looks like I found the color inside Android resources. Yeah, it almost looks identical, so that should be it. What I'm wondering is that I can also at the moment get rid of these 2 XML file, and that's it. Also, I can delete the adapter, which I can quickly show you. There was a list adapter and a view holder, which are not needed anymore because we are using Jetpack Compose. Yeah, everything else should be okay. Let me just run the app again and make sure I didn't break anything by deleting those files, and we can proceed. And yeah, I broke something. Yeah, there's a binding adapter here related to the screens I deleted, which we don't need anymore. And yeah, this one. By the way, this app was using data binding, and that's why the binding adapters were defined to create the adapter and assign to recycler view and do all those things in the background. But now we are fine without them. Okay, what was next? So I want to add pull to refresh and also load more functions. Let's see if I can figure out how we can do this pull to refresh. And do we have anything similar in Jetpack Compose for that feature? I can also maybe clean up the fragment at the moment, because yeah, here we set the UI. We don't need these bindings anymore. We have view model here, the endless recycler view. A scroll listener is not being used anymore because we have to find a solution for it. This line is also obsolete, and yeah, we almost don't need anything from this part, if I'm not wrong. No, except the click thing that navigate to another screen. But yeah, at some point maybe, let's see how it goes. Maybe at some point I also have to get rid of that nav graph and put everything in the activity. But for the moment I will just keep it here. And yeah, there is no undestroy needed anymore. And yeah, this one we need, and this one is okay. So as you can see, at the very first step, the fragment is very simple because everything is happening between the Compose UI and our view model, and nothing is here at all. It just takes care of the lifecycle and anything else. Yeah, we can also get rid of this suppress because there's not too many functions in this class anymore. And now detekt is also happy. Okay, let me search for pull to refresh in Jetpack Compose. Another thing I learned is that when reading articles about Jetpack Compose, you really have to check the date of that article, because many things has changed since the first version of Compose was out, and you can easily get fooled by following some wrong article with some wrong points. But yeah, let's see if this one works. It says there's something called swipe refresh, and we only have to add the dependency. I will take care of it and see how it does. Yeah, by the way, it's a beta version, and let's see how it works. I'm going to put it directly in my list screen because my list is doing fine and I just need a wrapper around it. So somewhere like here, and swipe refresh. Yes, remember swipe refresh state is refreshing, and I will reuse this UI state. Let me see. Value loading, or we can even follow the same name convention. So I will just rename this to is refreshing, and for the moment I will keep this here until I make sure everything is fine. And there is a method call on my view model. I have something called load episodes, which load the first page, and then load more, just load the next page, and every time a page loads we just increase that number. So I will call this method directly from here, and I hope it works without any trouble. I was wrong. There should be something. This looks like something that we faced in part 1 when I was trying to add dependencies, to add compose dependencies to my project, and it wasn't so nice. Okay, looks like the problem is solved, but it was a hard one. So, long story short, the latest version of Swiper Refresh, which is 0.21.4, is using latest version of Kotlin, which is 1.6.0. But this version has some issues with Room because they broke some stuff, and they're going to be a newer version which would be 1.6.1, which fixes that issue. That's why I cannot update to this one. The only solution at the moment is to downgrade this version to 0.21.3, which kind of fixed my problem, and now I have it here, which is nice. So maybe let me try to see. Yeah, it also works nicely, and looks like I did it correctly. We can double check what I did here for this view. So in the episode list screen, I added the swipe refresh and defined something called isRefreshed, which is already defined in my UI state. So I have a boolean that says is refreshing, or is loading more, or is offline, or other errors and other things. And yeah, when user do the action, this method is being called, which load the episode again and do some kind of refreshing. And yeah, that was nice and easy. It works like a charm. What I'm missing right now here is that pagination that I had in my list of episodes. I can show you. Previously I used to use this endless recycler view, a scroll listener, which used to listen to the item to be scrolled, and when the item will reach to some very low number, for example 1/3 of the list, the whole this listener was kind of triggering the view model to load more item to this list. And yeah, I'm kind of right now missing that pagination. By the way, I can easily now delete this because I don't need it anymore in Compose. Let me Google and see what I can find. Yeah, it looks like this one is using the Android paging from Jetpack Compose. There's some API related to paging. I'm not using that, and I have to find some maybe custom implementation. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like I can use this ListState and try to observe the item that is being shown. Let me see how I can do it. This should be kind of a custom solution. Okay, cool. There is something called first visible item. Let me see, what else do we have? So scrolling progress. First scroll item offset. Okay, we need some kind of debugging here. I will try to do it like this. Okay, I added text on top of the list to see how it behaves. Let's run the app and see the behavior. There's something called first visible item scroll offset and something called first visible item index. It is behind the list. I should move it a bit maybe. I will put it after the list and maybe change the font size to, I don't know, 18.sp. Yeah, so many stuff here. I will switch to code. And yeah, and can I set the color? Yes, color.red. Yeah, let's see. Let's build the app and see how it works and try to maybe simulate that behavior that I'm looking for. So right now it's 0, 0 and okay. The offset is kind of the pixel of a scroll thing, so that doesn't work here. What else I can do? So we can kind of get rid of this part, and yeah, maybe there's some easy solution out there that I have no idea, and I'm trying to figure out my own solution. By the way, see how it goes. Because what else I need here is to know how many items are being shown on the screen, and this should be a bit more complicated. If I could say what's the last item index here, then I could compare it with the size and say, okay, I don't know, if there were 3 items left to scroll, then trigger that load more thing. But here we don't have that one. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like this is what I'm looking for, but I have no idea how to use it. Contains useful information about the current displayed layout state of lazy list like LazyColumn and LazyRow. For example, you can get the list of current displayed item. Use lazy list layout info to retrieve this. So this is what I'm looking for. Viewport end of start offset, end offset, and total item count, and visible item info. So let me see. Okay, 20 is the number of items in the whole episodes, which I already have because I can say episode that size. What else do we have here? Okay, that map. Let's see what it has inside. Index, key, offset, size. Let's go with index. This looks promising. What I can do is get the last item of this list and check if, for example, there were 3 or 4 items left to the end of the list. I trigger that custom solution I'm looking for. That last. And what I need to do here is last item index and I also have total items episodes.size if last item index is smaller than total item minus 4, for example. Let's trigger some method. Load more, which is going to be something like this. What I am missing in this solution is that previously I guess I used to pass the page index to my view model. Let me get rid of all of this and a screen, and then my view model here. Yeah, load more episodes require the page index. I think I can figure out the page index using these numbers too. So it will be something like int to unit, and I can say load more the page equal. So what we know is that, yeah, I know every time we pull 20 items, maybe I should move this state out of this compose. So I will just trigger that and leave the rest to view model to take care of this state instead of my view taking care of this state. And then here I should pass in the method I'm looking for, and it is view model dot load more, and yeah, it should be a bit tricky because I have to handle all those states that the view model is loading data, but the view may call this method multiple times or more than often. Okay, I have the page here. I will just plus the page instead of assigning the page, and get rid of this one. Yeah, let's see if my custom solution works, and if it doesn't, then I may try to learn a bit more and do with another solution in the next part. But yeah, let's test this at the end of this part and see if I can make it work. And something broke. I should go with this and check it here if this is not null, because at the very beginning the list is empty, there's no index. I think that's why it's breaking. No, maybe there's something else. Yeah, the list is empty. Oh, yeah, my text is now broken. I think what we can do is just remove the last and just observe how it works out of the box. Okay. And we scroll down, and as soon as we hit 16, I guess the list, yeah, we have more items here, and let me see, yeah, 15 episodes, and that's it. Okay, Okay, I have to go and debug and see if it's working fine, because I'm guessing this load more is increasing the page crazily without any reason, and that should not be okay. So right now, yeah, our page is super big and we don't want it this way. Okay, this solution may work by some tuning, but I will try to not reinvent the wheel. First, I will try to search if I can find any pagination for LazyColumn, and if I couldn't, then I will try to invent my own solution for it. By the way, the reason I'm doing it here again is that I'm not using the Jetpack Pagination API, and that's why it makes it a bit harder for me to have my own solution. Yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, thanks for following what I'm doing, and thanks for learning with me at the same time, because this is my first time I'm doing the Jetpack Compose, and that's why I don't know too much about it. And I like this empathy that we are, if you also doesn't know the Jetpack Compose, we are kind of in the same boat, and maybe what I'm facing right now, what the problems that I'm facing right now are exactly the problems that you may face while you want to learn it. So we try different things and learn together. That's the whole purpose of this series of videos. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, and support this channel if you like the type of content that I'm working on. And see you on the next part. Let's see if we can fix this. Bye bye.